You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? All right. Mr. Z, a little late today, a little bit more than late today. We're almost 30 minutes. So, yeah, that's officially late, but it's not super late in the Z grand scheme of things. But no excuses, no excuses. I have no excuses. Life was just lifing, and it probably still will be lifing, but we're going to try to tough through and get this out anyway. But let's get underway. I'm going to start off with something that's not actually on the topic yet. So we're gonna get to the main topic, the main subject in a minute. But before we do, let's actually cover this, because I actually had a few things to say about this first. Right. So let's do our intro. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Shout out to the replay game. We are up to 21 members, so we need about 4 more, and then we're going to start all of our exclusive stuff for members and all of our members first stuff. So there you go. And so now you know Mr. Z Ramen. And so we're at 21. Thank you to all of you members, and we're going to shout y'all out and do a members stream that's going to be public, and saying the names. Well, at least, well, if it is your public name, then I won't say it, but your screen name. And thank you. So where do we start? Here. And shout out to this brother. I forgot this brother's name. I'm gonna go get it in a minute. So we could be respectful in shouting him out. But there's I think we have to accept that unless you're initiated and increasingly, especially on the left, but a little bit on the right, there's this shaming that's coming along. And once again, we're speaking as if the women don't exist in this society, and as if the women don't want things. And that is, as some of their wants, most of their wants are hypocritical as hell. And that they're just as invested in the patriarchy because they want paymaster men. The uninitiated, those that are afraid to be labeled red pill, afraid to be labeled manosphere or black manosphere, afraid to be labeled any type of Samuelite, Kevin Samuels insult. No one wants to be honest that the men have no incentive in America, and largely in the West, to pursue modern women. The juice is not worth the squeeze. I did not check out BGS's think piece about it. We're gonna get to it. I might review it. Shout out to BGS and more, right? And it's really difficult for non-initiated to come to terms with, yeah, we might be, and we're speaking about passport bros here, the passport bros might be paying the fee overseas, but the women in America don't want the men to pay a fee. It's just that their fee is $200,000 and $250,000 a year, whereas the women overseas might be $55,000 and $65,000 and maybe $70,000 and $80,000 a year. What are you talking about, Z? Continuing.
Ladies and gentlemen, they say that 70% of men who travel abroad for dating feel more respected than when they date women in the U.S. Okay. I mean, I think some of that can be a cultural thing, you know what I mean, where people are just raised to, on different values. They say, the women respect men and be submissive to men and all that other stuff. Some of that is just culture, and a lot of how, some women and men are raised in different countries. And some of that is just simply because you paid the fee. See, a lot of times we be wanting to cut that part out. You paid the fee. You paid. You paid for it. You understand? You flew over there, and it cost you $25 for that girl to do everything you wanted to do, from the rooter to the tutor. And now you in love. But you don't realize, you don't forgot that you fulfilling the need. She's gonna take that $25 and she gonna split that up with her family. You know how far that money gonna go with her family. You know how many damn coconuts they been to buy. Her daddy been, he in a wheelchair and everything. He can't work. Her mama done got old. She got siblings and everything. They finna eat for months. You understand? And you ain't the only one. I'm not trying to downgrade nobody. I'm saying, because there's women out there too who, there's men out there that you pay the fee. You pay the fee, of course. It's some people that they know how to, they got that brain where they can just black out. They don't have to really feel nothing to treat you like they feel something. You paid the fee. You paid what it costs. So they gonna do whatever it is they do, and they gonna make you think that they like it. You ever went to the strip club and the girl giving you the lap dance? She calling you daddy and rubbing on you and making you feel all good. But then when the song over, she turned around and gonna give up that chain. And she going on. She finna go on about her business. You hear me? To each his own.
And shout out to that brother. I think his name is Sherler King. And my apologies if I'm mispronouncing it. I've covered a couple of videos from him from Instagram. I know he's a comedian. Shout out to y'all. And I got to read this from Brooklyn's Finest exactly. And as Brooklyn Finest says, you don't pay a fee in America. Hey, to all of the non-initiated, to all the people that like to make fun of the manosphere, black manosphere, mock us, insult us. Now y'all going off of this manosphere documentary. Now y'all trying to shame your sons from watching and listening to our content as if your daughters are not going to be the ones to radicalize them when they start dating, if they're not in dating age yet, or if it's not going to be your daughters who crush them, who cause them to listen to us. Trust me, we're not recruiting. We're not sending out pamphlets. We're not sending out flyers. It's not the algorithm. It's your daughters. But okay, fine, America. To Sherler King, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Brother, we don't pay a fee in America? Where are all of these rich women at? And even the rich women want you to pay for them. Oh, look at this. Median American salary. Oh, will you look at that? The women balling out of control in America, huh? They don't want you to pay a fee. Look, you gotta love it. Westerners, whites mainly, but Westerners, Americans in specific, where do we get off? I will concede to him. I will concede to you, Sherler King, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. My apologies. I'll concede. Yeah, the women overseas will do anything. Okay, and that's not really true, but okay, for argument's sake, they gonna do whatever you want to do, and it's gonna be for cheap. Yeah, and you're gonna fall in love with it. Okay, yeah. And the women in America, it's just and you still get attitude. Imagine that. They got you paying exorbitantly. They gonna be reluctant to do what you want them to do. And they're going to give you attitude. And the passport bros are wrong because... So let's go with this stereotype. Let's go all the way with it. You land somewhere in Southeast Asia, Laos, Cambodia, Philippines, wherever, right? Homegirl pick you up from the airport, right? Y'all walk from the Uber to her home, or you got a nice telly. Let's say you got a nice little telly. She meets you at the telly, or you pick her up at wherever. You bring her to the telly. Y'all do your little fake ass date, and it costs you all of, in American money, $80, $120, $50, $60, $40, $30. That whole night cost you a whole $50. To go to a little bar, to buy her drinks, right? Let's say you make a whole day of it. Y'all go to whatever museum, whatever UNESCO, whatever the hell. Y'all walk around. Then you take her back to a nice bar or restaurant at the end of the night. Then you take her to the telly, and that whole day sets you back a whole whopping $120 American US dollars. Okay, fine. And the American woman, that would have set you back $700-800, maybe $1,000. And she gonna have an attitude, and she gonna be snarky, and she gonna be mean, and she bought into feminism on another level, and she gonna be a little smug, and she gonna talk to the waitress crazy. If we going with the stereotypes, huh? Fine, okay. Well, you know what? We won't even go with the negative stereotypes on American women. She's just a bit more entitled because she's American and she knows her worth and feminism and female empowerment. And she don't need you because she make her own money, right? Okay, fine. Quite frankly, the experience is just more expensive and more of a headache. And the problem is, let's go with it. It's the fee. Yeah, you paying a fee overseas, but you're not paying a fee in the West. You're not paying a fee in the US, and it's not an exorbitant fee for a less quality woman. Ooh, goddamn Z, you wasn't supposed to say that part out loud. You're paying a more expensive fee for a heavier woman. I put money on it. For a heavier woman with more attitude. God forbid she's slim and cute and got a degree. That's your ass. You better leave her for the elite rich white men or the super good looking black men or Latinos or Asians or whoever the hell. If she wife material, she'd been off the market. Stop it. Huh? Somebody tell Z he lying. And essentially, yeah, thank you, Vince. Buy American. Shout out to All Hail Balamuccio. That is what he's saying. Buy American. Yeah, it's too damn expensive in the quality. Ooh, Z, you about to look. Mr. Z's a petrol head. I'm a car guy. I'm a car enthusiast, an automobile enthusiast, however you want to phrase it. If it's a muscle car, pretty damn reliable for American, and you get cheap power, relative cheap power. If it's a truck, same thing, and it's gonna last you. Especially the GM products, but even some of the Ford products, trucks, they gonna last you. Especially the body on frame stuff, the Expeditions, the Tahoes, the Suburbans, huh? The Silverados, the F-150s, the Dodge Rams, they're gonna last you. But if you were to, they don't really sell sedans anymore in America. The Fusions are gone and whatnot. But if you get American 4-cylinder cars, oh, the reliability. What reliability, Z? Buy American. I'm glad you said that, All Hail Balamuccio. Because the expensive stuff might last you. The everyday regular stuff, good luck. Boy, the Malibus be breaking down left and right. The Tauruses weren't that great at one point. The Fusions, huh? The last generation Impala, meh. To all of those, meh. Sounds real familiar. Same thing like the women. Oops. Look, brother. Look, Sherlock King, or I'm almost certain I'm mispronouncing this brother's name. I agree with you. Okay, fine. You paying a fee overseas, but you're not paying a fee in America, an exorbitant fee for a less quality product. Brother, have you checked the marriage rate in America? Have you checked the divorce rate? Have you seen who's getting married and who's staying married? It's all about money. Woohoo! Whoopsie! Huh? And the women are the ones who are filing for divorce at 70%, 90% if they're college educated. We have to be honest in America. To all the technocrats, I'm not even talking to this brother right now. To all the technocrats, pundits, social designers, etc., the talking heads, the tastemakers, the women are expensive and they're insufferable. Your birth rate gonna keep on going down. Your marriage rate gonna keep on going down. Welcome to Elysium or in time. Welcome to Elysium. Huh? Oh, Schuler. Okay. Schuler. Thank you. All hail Balamuccio. Schuler King. Brother, it ain't working, bro. It's not gonna work. The women are too expensive. And luckily for the masses of American women, lucky. And I don't care how much they act like they don't care. They care. Lucky for them, most men can't afford it. Most men in America still don't have their passport. They haven't been overseas. And there's not instant transmission travel to these far off places on the planet. Because if it was possible, American women would be cooked. And it would be so bad, they would have to say it. Some of them are already saying it. Huh? They low-key cock blocking and hating already. Don't let their pride and their ego and the way they say it blind you, deceive you. Huh? Okay, yeah, you got to pay a fee. overseas, but you don't got to pay a fee in America. Whenever these folks talk about women overseas, look, y'all going over there because they're easier. Wait a minute, is that an insult? That's supposed to. Wait a minute, y'all going over there because they're uneducated. Oh, there we go. Translation: they're not as difficult as me and other American women. They don't know their value. Translation: they're not assholes. Could you just say they're not assholes? Y'all going over there to them overseas women because they easier. And that's a problem because they don't know their worth. They don't know their value. Well, see, over here we know our value. Over here we got rights. Y'all going over there because they don't got no rights. First of all, that's not true. Secondly, they're not insufferable, mean, overweight assholes. That's what what you mean to say is those women overseas. Yeah, they're not perfect. Mr. Z is not talking about no panacea. We're not being delusional over here. We're not talking about perfection. What we are saying are women who still have an idea of what it means to be a wife, what it means to be someone that at least could pretend like they give a F about a man. She knows how to, and she engages and at least pretending like she cares. And you don't have to be a millionaire for her to pretend either. You don't gotta be 6'5" for her to pretend either. You don't have to be sculpted by the gods, be built like a Greek demigod, shout out to Hercules, for her to pretend either. Huh? She don't have to have racked up a body count of 50 or 100, and then now she's looking for a safe place to land for her to pretend to care either. That's what we're saying. Dear Western women, American women, we appreciate it. Fine. You don't owe the men anything. Decent to men. You don't owe us consideration. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to appreciate that the men can also move along. Y'all chose the bear. You remember? Ladies, you forgot. Decent men, you forgot? Did you forget? You said decent men. Ladies, fine. Decent men. You owe the men nothing. Be mean to men. The happiest relationships, and I'm kind of giving y'all a little foresight on what's coming up next. The happiest relationships are the women who hate men that are married to men. Huh? Fine, we heard y'all. And the masses of men said, yeah, about that, especially millennials and Gen Z. All the ladies are saying how much y'all love y'all career. Y'all would rather be in peace, especially younger Xers and younger. About 50, 52 and younger, y'all all saying the same thing. Or many of you are saying the same thing. We ain't going to say all, fine. And the men said, you know what? I bet. We heard you the first time. Huh? We heard you the first time. Ladies, you got that. So to Schuler King, brother, fine. The men are paying. The men that's going overseas are paying a fee. Yeah, I'll concede it, but it's a cheaper fee and it's more pleasant. It's a way cheaper fee and they're way more pleasant, way more fit. So the question then becomes, the problem is, oh, you falling in love because you don't realize that you're paying a fee. I'm paying a more exorbitant fee in the US and I'm not falling in love because she's insufferable. You imagine speaking like this as if it's an insult to a man? I want you to appreciate we're no longer in the era of the older Xers or the boomers when y'all can kind of make these jabs. Oh, you a soft man. You soft because you don't want to handle these women. Huh? You want something soft and pliable and easy. And the problem is you're not a real man. Yeah, that's it. You ain't gonna kill yourself for a woman who can't wait for you to die. Huh? You ain't gonna work yourself to an early grave for a woman and some daughters who gonna turn into feminists and talk about how men ain't ish, even though your daughter was surviving off of you and your labor her whole life. Oops. Huh? You ain't gonna struggle and work and die for a daughter that's gonna turn into a baby mama. Oh crap. An asshole baby mama on top of that. That's why she a baby mama. Oops. Huh? You ain't gonna pour all your labor into a woman and some kids who about 5 or 10 years after you pass, they take your portrait and they put it in the basement or the attic somewhere. Your grandkids don't even know what you look like. uh, yeah. You ain't gonna work your ass off for working class women who got contempt for you because you're not elite. Yeah, that's it. Who reserve the right to drop you up at a drop of a dime and not think about you once afterward. Yeah, that's it. Schuler King. No, bro. Shout out to the passport bros. Mr. Z's not a passport bro, right? Don't care to be a passport bro, but it makes sense. Like it literally makes sense, but huh? Continuing.
Ladies and gentlemen, they say that 70% of men who travel abroad for dating feel more respected than when they date women in the U.S. Man, okay. I mean, I think some of that can be a cultural thing, you know what I mean? Where people are just raised to, you know, on different values. They say, you know, women respect men and be submissive to men and all that other stuff. Some of that is just culture and a lot of how, you know, some women and men are raised in different countries. And some of that is just simply because you paid the fee. See, a lot of times we be wanting to cut that part out. You paid the fee. You paid. You paid for it. You understand? You flew over there and it cost you $25 for that girl to do everything you wanted to do from the rooter to the tutor. And now you in love. But you don't realize, you don't forgot that you fulfilling the need. She's actually gonna take that $25 and she gonna split that up with her family. You know how far that money gonna go with her family. You know how many damn coconuts they've been to buy. Her daddy been, you know, he in the wheelchair and everything. He can't work. Her mama done got old. She got siblings and everything. They finna eat for months. You understand? And you ain't the only one. I'm not trying to downgrade nobody. I'm saying, cause there's women out there too who, you know what I mean, there's men out there that you pay the fee. You pay the fee, of course. There's some people that they know how to, they got that brain where they can just black out. They're like, they don't have to really feel nothing to treat you like they feel something. You paid the fee. You paid what it costs. So they gonna do whatever it is they do. And they gonna make you think that they like it. You ever went to the strip club and the girl giving you the lap dance? She calling you daddy and rubbing on you and making you feel all good. But then when the song over, she turn around and gonna give up that chain. And she going on. She finna go on about her business. You hear me? To each his own.
Let's go with that. Okay, it's like being in a strip club and you're getting the doting wife experience for a week while you're in the Philippines. Maybe 2 weeks. You went backpacking and traveling across Southeast Asia or somewhere in South America. I don't suggest you do it in South America or Central America. You already know what they're about over there. I'm just saying. But anyway, fine. You spent 2 weeks in Central America somewhere or South America somewhere, and you got the boyfriend experience, well, the girlfriend experience in this case, from whoever you were in communication with, whatever women you were in communication with. You got the girlfriend experience when you went over there. She doted on you. She might have a man you don't know about, right? Fine, let's go with it. And you paying the fee for you to be her boyfriend, assuming you don't got 2 and 3 and 5 lined up over there. Assuming it's not that, fine. You doing long-term stripper type action overseas, whether it's in South America, whether it's in somewhere in Southeast Asia or South Asia, better yet. I'm sorry. No, I said it right the first time, Southeast Asia. But fine, or either way, let's go with it. You spend a couple $1,000s for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, depending on your career, however long you're gone, a week, 2 weeks. And you get that experience from this one young lady. Or you get different women that you lined up doting on you for the 2 weeks you're overseas. Instead of what? Trying to pull that in the US for far more of a cost, failing more often than not, and not even getting the woman to pretend. We're not talking about elite men. We're talking about salt of the earth, everyday men. Anywhere from $40,000 a year to maybe $120 a year men in America. What's the problem here? You got your girlfriend experience with the young lady, or you got multiple women to dote on you for 2 and 3 weeks while you were overseas, and it didn't cost an arm and a leg, and you didn't have to be super tall, super good looking, overly charismatic. And the problem is, how is this a problem? Is it Z? Is it Z? So the young lady, before you get on the plane and leave to come back to America, she reaches out her hand and be like, "Oh, that'd be $500 for the past 2 weeks." And the problem is, she reaches out her hand and say, "Oh, that'd be $1,000 for the past 2-3 weeks," compared to how much you would have spent in America and not get nearly the treatment. And God knows if you would even got the vagina. Huh? Yeah. And the problem is, right? How that makes sense? Huh? So I just want to emphasize that to everyone, right? I just want to emphasize that to everyone. The young lady, the young ladies, better yet, are being who they want to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. America's a free country. You do what you want to do, how you want to do it. And if an increasing number of men, or even a minority of men, it's never going to be all or most probably in America until the technology allows for it, are seeking women who are okay with being wives and play a particular role. That doesn't mean those women overseas are a panacea. That doesn't mean that it doesn't come with its own issues. That doesn't mean that it's 100% safe. No one here is delusional. What we are saying, is it possible for a man to meet a woman overseas that gets on his program, that he might fly her back over here if he can, he might make her a wife. If not, he just want to have some fun. He want to feel like the man without having to be a goddamn millionaire. And if he got to go overseas and experience this for 2 or 3 weeks of his life, once a year, the problem is, Schuler King, what's the problem? What, those men are losers? Have you seen young millennial and Gen Z men? They don't care nothing about what y'all talking about. The women have called them losers enough. The elite men have called them losers enough. They don't care. I love it. White women, black women, some Latina women, Asian women doing their own version of, you can't handle the strong women. You intimidated by our careers. We're independent. We don't need you. That. And you know what, ladies? You are correct. And here's the consequence of decades of that language. Eat that. This is the cost of decades of that language coming from elites, coming from the women, coming from the technocrats. Your young men are moving accordingly. As a matter of fact, your marriageable age, military age men are moving accordingly. Rightfully so. If the men think that the women are insufferable and too expensive, good luck to everyone, whether it's Dr. Richard Reeves, whether it's Scott Galloway, Professor Galloway, whether it's any one of the pundits or talking heads. If the men think that the women are insufferable and too expensive and they're going to leave the women out there for the elite men, good luck. Good luck trying to change their mind without changing the women. Good luck. We'll see about that. Huh? Well, damn. Huh? And let me read this from KMS now, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And KMS says, so you're telling me VIP section somewhere else costs less than the entry fee here, and that's a bad deal? Get the hell out of here. Increasingly more men. And that's all it is. That's all it is. The women in the West have become insanely expensive, and they're less of a quality of wife. We're not even getting married like that. So there's that. They're less of quality of girlfriend and long-term situation. Since who? Since the men. The masses of men. That says who? And all of this beating up on them and all of this mocking the manosphere, mocking the black manosphere, insulting them, insulting the men, all this fake ass, air quotes, tough love talk. The young men are showing you through action, yeah, I heard you the first time and I'm moving accordingly. That means moving the hell away from you and the women. Huh? It's not, let me say this again. No one opinion matters about single women other than single men. Not the technocrats, not the pundits, not the women themselves. The only people's opinion that matters about single women are single men. Not the pastors, not the preachers. No one's opinion matters about single women other than single men. Unless all the rest of you are willing to pay for the single women to death. Subsidize the single women to death. Huh? For those of them that have kids out of wedlock, pay for them and their children to death. If not, then once again, the only people's opinion that matters are the single men. Somebody tells he lying. Huh? And as KMS said, if VIP somewhere else, that means elite, really attractive women overseas. And yes, those women are more likely to end up with men from their same background, demographic, whatever, and they probably off the market mad young anyway. But if for the ones that are not, and the ones that don't have children, if that American passport is worth its weight in gold for those women overseas, depending on where you are, and you compare that to the slop that you're thrown as a working class man in America. So in America, $50,000, $60,000, you're thrown slop. You're thrown gruel. Shout out to the Matrix. Huh? You're throwing gruel. That's what you get for your 50, 60,000 under 6 feet, regular looks, average life. That's what you're throwing in America. Here, take this. That's what you're giving in America as a salt of the earth man. God forbid you're black. But if you could go overseas and parlay that into, okay, yeah, maybe you can't really touch the elite women, but you have access to pretty okay women. You could touch sevens over there, maybe an 8 or 2, a 6.5. Where in America, your same height, your same looks, your same comportment gets you a 4, if you're lucky, a 5. If you're lucky, a 5. Hell no. Shout out to KMS. Yeah, if the men are saying yeah about that through action, then yeah, guess what? Yeah about that through action. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I see your other super chat. We'll get to it in a minute. Right? Yeah. So let's play it one more again and then we'll get to something else.
Ladies and gentlemen, they say that 70% of men who travel abroad for dating feel more respected than when they date women in the U.S. Okay. I mean, I think some of that can be a cultural thing, you know what I mean? Where people are just raised to, you know, on different values. They say, you know, women respect men and be submissive to men and all that other stuff. Some of that is just culture and a lot of how, you know, some women and men are raised in different countries. And some of that is just simply because you paid the fee. See, a lot of times we be wanting to cut that part out. You paid the fee. You paid. You paid for it. You understand? You flew over there and it cost you $25 from that, for that girl to do everything you wanted to do from the rooter to the tutor. And now you in love. But you don't realize, you don't forgot that you fulfilling the need. She gonna take that $25 and she gonna split that up with her family. You know how far that money gonna go with her family. You know how many damn coconuts they been to buy. Her daddy been, he in the wheelchair and everything. He can't work. Her mama done got old. She got siblings and everything. They finna eat for months. You understand? And you ain't the only one. I'm not trying to downgrade nobody. I'm saying, cause there's women out there too who, there's men out there that you pay the fee. You pay the fee, of course. It's some people that they know how to, they got that brain where they can just black out. They don't have to really feel nothing to treat you like they feel something. You paid the fee. You paid what it costs. So they gonna do whatever it is they do, and they gonna make you think that they like it. You ever went to the strip club and the girl giving you the lap dance? She calling you daddy and rubbing on you and making you feel all good. But then when the song over, she turned around and gonna give up that chain. And she going on. She finna go on about her business. You hear me? To each his own.
And let me read this from Starman. I did not see it earlier, and it actually speaks to something I was saying a minute ago. And Starman says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Starman says, you long dead after having purchased a house and everyone calling it, quote, grandma's house. Gross. Bro, it's slightly different for us as millennials, especially with the economy being what it is and whatnot. But for some of our grandfathers, and for some of us found out that granddaddy wasn't our biological granddaddy as we got a little bit older. So there's that part too. Oops, that part. Oops, right? Granddad did all of that. He worked his ass off. Yeah, grandma worked. Let's be fair. We're black. Grandma worked, but granddad did the grueling work. He put in more hours. He made way more than grandma. And yet, we came along only a few years before granddad passed, or maybe a few years after granddad passed, and we call granddad's house that he paid off or almost paid off by the time he passed away, we call it grandma's house. Huh? We call it the level of disrespect we show to men, particularly black men, is insane. It's insane. And then, especially in the black community, we pretend like we don't appreciate why black men opted out of marriage 3-4 decades ago. With the young boomers, with young black boomers, black men started opting out of marriage. The Xers came along, got hit, and they were like, yeah, we forgot. We ain't doing it neither. Shout out to Xers, particularly young Xers. Millennials ain't even trying. Gen Z is laughing at the idea. Marry who? Shout out to Gen Z men, Gen Z black men. Especially if you're not elite, or you're not college educated, or you're not trying to do the power couple thing. First of all, you probably got priced out of that anyway. But even if you necessarily didn't, marry who? God forbid you're working class. Oh, if you're working poor, that's the last thing on your mind as a working poor black man. Marriage? To who? Even the lower middle class black men are like, yeah, I don't know about that. Nah. Huh? To who? So shout out to Starman, yeah. Granddad's house became, quote, grandma's house. And then grandma passed, and then aunts and uncles fighting over the house, or half of them want to sell it, the other half don't, the other half want to rent it. One of the kids still living at the house, well into their damn 50s. Somebody stayed with grandma until they was dead. They 50 something, maybe 60 something. Huh? Okay, fine, cool, whatever. Somebody took care of grandma well until she passed away. They were cleaning up after her, whatever. The other ones that moved out or moved away, they still think they got all the rights and all to say so. Everybody done seen it. We all seen it, even if it didn't happen in your individual family, your relatives. You know, an aunt or an uncle that went through this. Your extended cousins, your family. We all know. Even if it didn't happen with your mom or your dad and their siblings, that extended family, oh, it happened. Right? To air quotes, grandma's house that granddad paid off. Yeah, that's it. Huh? Oh, man. Right? And let's read this. Where did the other comment from KMS go? And KMS says, I think, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And KMS says, I think men have reached the market cap on giving a F, right? About what these umbrellas think. It's like white noise. You can, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, watch. You can hear it if you pay attention. Hashtag enough. Look, about the white noise and about men, and especially men, young men, reaching the market cap of giving an F because it doesn't matter. It doesn't pay anything. You don't get anything if you're not a select man, or if you don't have the income or the status or the wealth or whatever. KMS, that statement that you made about too much pain in the system was so profound, brother. Right? And we are not, to be fair to you, and I'm going to use the word, we're not sympathetic enough to men, young men, about how insufferable the women have become. Because the technocrats and the elites are using the women as a buffer so much, they don't even pretend to say, look, we know we made them impossible and we don't know how to fix it. And at least for elite men, it might be worth it because they're doing the power couple thing and she's highly educated and she kind of makes up for it in the back end that she's, pun, right? She makes up for it on the back end that she's insufferable, and he has enough money to kind of like throw enough leisure time and vacations and upward mobility that she'll stay maybe for a lifetime, maybe for 15, 20 years. So he would have got his ROI, return on investment. But for all of you, once we start trending to about middle class-ish and lower, definitely lower middle class and lower, it's not worth it. Huh? The women are just far too insufferable, far too overweight, far too expensive. Huh? Far too diluted. It's you quite frankly, if we just gonna call it, if we don't even have to put no negative anything on the women. Outside of they just cost too much. Let's just say that. Fine. Mr. Z won't say anything negative about the women. They just cost too much. There you go. Unlike our fathers, we can afford mom over here and the side chick and the two kids from her over there on the other side of town. Unlike granddad. Granddad could afford grandma and the side woman that we find out about at granddad's funeral with our siblings we didn't know about, our half siblings we didn't know about, or our half aunts and uncles we didn't know about on the other side of town. Granddad could afford it. Great granddad could afford it. Millennials, younger Xers, Gen Z can't afford it. We can't afford the side chick, let alone the main chick. They cost too much and they're insufferable. Z, you said you're going to stop doing the character assassination thing. Okay, fine. They just cost too much. There you go. Leave them for the elite men. That doesn't mean that some of us not going to get to pipe. Some of us are not going to get to have our little fun, our little situation for a little while. Huh? But that marriage thing out the window. Marriage has officially, Mr. Z been knowing, marriage has officially become something for the elites. All the rest of us who gonna practice it is gonna end in less than 20 years. If you're lucky, 20 years. What they said, once again, only 20% of marriages last over 20 years in America. You think working class men, which is the masses of us, are gonna sign up for that? Particularly working class black men? For what? So shout out to KMS. It's just white noise. Yeah. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. KMS also says, and thank you for the super chat again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So America is built of staunch capitalism until we start talking about these umbrellas, right? These yitches. Then upfront costs, debt distribution, and ROI forecasts are foreign concepts. Hashtag yitches, please. Quite frankly, KMS, what I would argue is our elites, they really don't know how to say, or they really refuse to say, we get it, we just need you to do it anyway. Mr. Z Ryman. Yeah, we know they're insufferable. Yeah, we know they're super expensive. Yeah, we know they're going to blow that marriage up within 5 years if you're black, within 8 years if you're not. If you're lucky, you get 15 years out the deal if you're lucky. Yeah, we know it, but we need you to sign up anyway. Not enough for you are signing up. We okay. We know it's not going to be all of you, but not enough of you are signing up. We need you to subsidize her. We need you to knock her up with 2 to 3 kids. Huh? We know she's insane. We know we let the advertisers get a little too crazy with it over the past 4 decades. We done sold her hyper individuality, autonomy, consumerism, materialism, delusion. Huh? We done sold her the Prince Charming fantasy for decades. And we gave her the easy out of being middle finger up to when it don't work with her ideal man. Yeah, we sold her decenter man on top of that. Yeah, we know we did. Yeah, we know it's an ugly, toxic mix of neoliberal capitalism and third wave feminism, fourth wave feminism. Yeah, we know. But not enough of you men are signing up. And our military age, fighting age, high producing age men are not sacrificing themselves. Not enough of you anyway. Dr. Richard Reeves can't say that. Professor Galloway can't say that. Oprah can't say that. Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin and all the women on The View, first of all, they're not even thinking that. But even if they were informed, they can't say it. Who's gonna say it? Fox and Friends in the Morning, who gonna say it? Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough? Who's gonna say it? The pundits on CNN? Abby Phillips, who gonna say it? Who's gonna tell the young men after decades of you bum ass dudes, y'all not on women's level, y'all are intimidated by educated women, what can we do to get the men back online? Who's gonna tell the men, okay, y'all still earn more, y'all still are the ones who maintain the physical infrastructure, y'all look, we just need y'all to look, China's on our ass, China's beating us by many metrics, look, we need we need y'all. Who gonna say it? Who's gonna do a about face and turn around and say, okay. Who's gonna say it? Huh? Who? Sean Hannity, who's gonna say it? Huh? That's a real question. Who? Anderson Cooper, who's gonna say it? FD Signifier? Foreign Man, who's gonna say it? Julesy? Huh? Who's gonna say it? Destiny? Hassan Piker? Cenk Uygur? Who's gonna say it? Tucker Carlson? Tucker Carlson actually might say it. Actually, yeah. Tucker might say it. Tucker might say it. We'll reel back. Tucker might say it. Who's gonna say it? Huh? Amy Goodman for Democracy? Who's gonna say it? Huh? Chris Hedges? Chris Hayes? Richard Wolff? Who's gonna say it? Glenn Lowry? Who's gonna say it? No one's gonna tell the young men, particularly young black men, for the black community, but no one's gonna look. Okay, we messed up. Okay, okay, wait. We're gonna reel back. We're gonna reel. Look. We can't fix them today. Some of y'all already gone. But for some of you Gen Z and you alphas, we gonna make sure we gonna make a better product. Who's gonna tell? They can't. So now it's badger you and just try to shame you into at least having a couple of oops babies, right? And y'all give Z a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. Reckless, y'all already know. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. Snipers will snipe your ass. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, no, it's just even if we're being generous, even if we're not being, on the gender war time, the women are too expensive. They're simply too expensive. They're simply too expensive. And by the way, they still want hypergamy. They still want hypergamy. It's very interesting how this is going nowadays with that, and we're going to get to that in a minute, right? But they still want hypergamy. So let's kind of move on to the next thing. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I think I read all of you guys' super chats for that one topic. So moving along. And thank those of you who stayed. I know my numbers went down a little bit, but y'all didn't know when I was going to come back. And it is Reckless. And yep, that part. So here we go.
Anything shared with a man is not princess treatment. he got you that apartment that y'all both live in, or that house that y'all both live in, and he's paying all the bills.
Y'all don't got no problem sharing dick, though. You don't got no problem sharing dick that another woman done had. You don't got no problem taking somebody ex, somebody man. Y'all will share everything like that. But a man buying a house for y'all and paying all the bills is not, you don't want to share that, because that ain't princess treatment. I feel so sorry for this younger generation, bro. Because the women my age, you got some of them who are birds, but if you tell a woman my age, hey, I want to buy us a house, I want to take care of everything, you just sit back. They're not gonna turn that down and be like, man, this ain't no motherfucking princess treatment. Why I gotta share with you? What? Somebody in the comments even said, if he takes you on a trip, that's not a gift because he's enjoying himself too. It's shit like this that makes my fucking balls itch, because what are you talking about? Do it yourself then. Then you can gift yourself however much you want.
Shout out to that brother, and shout out to that brother. Let me say this. This is important that we emphasize. She is saying something. I want to say this is an increasing thought amongst ladies and young women, that a man who cares about you for real, or and it's really exploitation. We're gonna get to that in a minute. If he really is into you, then he'll do for you without enjoying it himself, without partaking himself, right? He'll send you money for lunch without him being there. Clearly, he'll pay a mortgage for a house that you live in that he don't live in, right? He'll send you on vacation and pay for it that he's not there, so you can get piped on by other dudes. Anyway, and it really is women taking this gender war thing to the next level. Z, there's other levels. I know, right? And so for them, it's clitoris to the wall. I was gonna say balls to the walls, but which balls? Clitoris to the wall. We gonna say now we just saying the craziest, most offensive, meanest, rudest, most inconsiderate thing we possibly can say. We throwing it all. Huh? Yeah. Screw all of it. We throwing it all against the wall. Now it's about scorched earth. All right, society. We got our college degrees now, and we independent. We making our own money. And if we don't got enough men who's gonna pay for us even more than we make ourselves, then F them all, and we gonna say the craziest things now. Huh? Now, let's be very clear. Most of these women don't make enough, and they in the struggle. That's the open kept secret. The open kept secret is that the outliers are doing way too much talking, and the masses of women don't got a they don't got a pot to urinate in or window to throw it out of. That's the open kept secret. The open kept secret is most women are not kicking ass. They're getting their ass kicked by elite rich white men that they wish they were with. But that's the open kept secret. The open kept secret is that way too many outliers women are doing way too much talking about how kick-ass they are in their careers and how upperly mobile they are and how they don't need no man. These women are starving. That's the open kept secret. The open kept secret is that the women are talking all this money stuff and what a man should do for you, what he would do for you, what he could do for you financially, because they're struggling. And when you couple their struggle with feminism, they're going to talk all that rah, strong and independent talk, and they're going to be struggling and finding really slick ways to get the money out of you without seeming like they starving and struggling, without seeming. Not seeming, even though, it might include that if they try to get that money about you, you know what I'm saying? But without seeming like they're struggling. And they're struggling. Huh? And no placeholder says, so sending her on a trip by herself is a gift. What the hell? Yes. That's the era of social media discourse we're on concerning the ladies right now. As I said, it's click to the wall, absolutely maximum offensive. We've been in that era for a little while of maximum offensive, maximum insult, belittle, be mean, asshole. Like, we are all the way there with it, regardless if that individual woman has a man or not herself. We're gonna get to it in a minute. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Yes, no placeholder. That's where we are now. Huh? And Vince's sponsorship. Yeah, but see, sponsorship, then that gives that maybe she don't need it, but maybe she like, no. With the era we're in is whether a woman has it or not. She wants a man who has it financially, whether she has it or not. And this is the part of the conversation that nobody wants to admit to men. Because the outlier women who maybe will be generous today, who maybe really mean it, that they're okay with a man who's not balling out of control, the women who actually mean it, we're talking about the women who actually mean it, all 0.5% of them. Okay, Z, okay. All 10% of them who actually might mean it. Yeah, don't be a bum. Yeah, don't maybe work a menial job. But as long as you're not in her pockets and you meet certain personality requirements and you might be up for consideration. You look good enough and whatever. Yeah, okay, fine. There are a handful of women who actually mean that. But for the masses of women who just talking that, your finances as a man, how much you earn, your status as a man does matter. And too many outlier women and too many of our technocrats keep speaking to men that the men can make up for women earning a bit more now than they did 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Women being in the workforce, women outnumbering men in college and university. You can make up for that by cleaning around the house, being emotionally intelligent, taking care of the children, and it's bull crap. The number one reason for divorce in America is money. And the women are filing 70% of divorces, 90% if they're college educated. You can't, let me say it again. You cannot make up for the money, her delusional financial requirements and ideas and standards with being a good guy. It's BS. Being intentional, working around the home, being attentive and emotionally intelligent and all those things. Look, if you meet the looks requirement and you banging the brains out with the triple X fund and you have the money, yes, then those things matter. But if you don't have the money, playboy, good luck. Maybe if you're a specimen in looks. If you're a physical specimen, maybe. She'll be sugar mama and she'll pay, but even then, that shelf life is gonna be short. So once again, the no placeholders, super chat. So sending her on a trip by herself with her homegirls, stop it, right? With the girlfriends, who might be girlfriends, you just don't know, oops. Sending her on a trip by herself is a gift? What the hell? Yep. Huh? Yeah. Huh? I know, everyone. I know. So let's call a thing a thing. The ladies, especially online, but you see it reflected in real life. These folks that look at those of us, Mr. Z, who are chronically online, and they're like, y'all too online. This is not happening in real life. Yeah. Yes, it is. What you see online is the angst manifested. It's the feelings. That's why you see so many faceless women liking certain comments and posts, because they feel the same way. It could be the girl sitting next to you in the cubicle at work, or standing next to you as a cashier at work, or she's right next to you at the traffic light right now. And I'm not saying that to make young men or men paranoid. What I am saying is this sentiment you see online and the internet is reflected in real life. Or better yet, other way around. What you see online is a reflection of how these women feel and think in real life about men and the dynamics and the relationships they have with men, both platonic but definitely romantic. Huh? Yeah. You see more and more young men coming to terms with and resigning themselves to, you know what, I can't even afford to play. Forget marriage. The Xers largely started to realize, especially when you get to younger Xers, okay, I ain't never gonna get married, so let me at least have my fun. Maybe I get into a long-term relationship or 2 or 3 in my lifetime. I might have kids out of wedlock, but okay, fine. Once we started getting to younger Xers, particularly black younger Xer men, they pretty much resigned themselves to that. But by the time you start getting to millennials, especially millennials that are under the age of 40 right now, that's when they started to resigning themselves. Okay, I might not even ever have a long-term relationship. I might not ever have children. Now you get into Gen Z and they're like, man, I might be pleasuring myself years on end. May not even get to smell the vagina for years on end. And you wonder why so many of the young men are thinking about becoming minimalist. Once again, what is the incentive? Dear buffer class elite, dear elite men who use the women as the buffer class, you got it. Now suffer the consequences. Huh? As one of the brothers told me privately, we are in the era of the situationship. We are in the era of the situationship, which we already knew, but he emphasized. And so, if the masses of us, Elysium, right? Blade Runner, name them, name all the techno dystopian movies. If we are in the era of the situationship for the masses of us, not you elites, not you highly educated who are going to get married and maybe stay married for a lifetime, if not a couple decades at least. For the masses of us, if we're in the era of the situationship and we're watching these outlier women give random women, everyday women, salt of the earth women, coping mechanisms through feminist speak and talk and decenter men talk, and that's their way of giving working class women coping language, because that's all it is. Huh? Say that. Oh, Starman, say that. The hysterical. Let Larry Fink pay for these 304s. Isn't that the Fed chair, or is that the one of those head bankers? Yeah, yeah, Larry Fink, right, right. Huh? So if we're in the era of the situationship for the masses of us, because feminism and neoliberal capitalism price the masses of men out the game, then so be it. But guess what? On Mr. Z's channel, we gonna tell the young men so they can, yeah, it's gonna sound depressing and sad and doomer, but the young men are gonna move accordingly. The young men are gonna be in the know and they're gonna move accordingly. Mr. Z's not gonna just sell them coping language like what y'all doing with the women over there. Fake ass empowerment language like what y'all doing with the women over there. And I'm not gonna lie to the young men like what y'all doing with men and women just about everywhere outside of Mr. Z's channel and the Black Manosphere. Huh? The young men will at least be informed of the environment and the upcoming environment so they can move accordingly. Oh, yeah. There we go. Thank you, Excalibur. Think equals CEO of BlackRock and head of World Economic Forum. Thank you. Right? Right? Yeah. We're going to let the young men know. And by the way, Mr. Z not pulling none of this out of his rear end. The numbers back me up, and y'all know it. Z, it sounds so depressed. It sounds so doomer. It sounds so defeating. Is it right though? Oops. Don't tell me anything else. Is it accurate? Forget whether it's doomer or not. Is it accurate? What do the numbers say? Do the numbers say just about 20% of marriages last 20 years or more? Do the numbers say that divorce has largely stagnated because we done priced all the average men out of marriage and the women not divorcing them because they're not getting married in the first place? Oops. Do the numbers say that some 80 some odd plus percent of millionaires are married and less than a third of them ever get divorced? Huh? That marriage has largely become a class game. The lower your socioeconomic class, the less likely you are to get married and the more likely you are to get divorced if you do get married. Huh? That the birth rate is going to the crapper. We're going to inform the young men here. Huh? So while y'all over there feeding the women coping talk, and they're being insufferable and mean and snarky and rude and celebrating it, while y'all doing that, we gonna be honest with the young ladies over here. Play it again, Z.
Anything shared with a man is not princess treatment. He got you that apartment that y'all both live in or that house that y'all both live in, and he's paying all the bills.
Y'all don't got no problem sharing dick, though. You don't got no problem sharing dick that another woman done had. You don't got no problem taking somebody ex, somebody man. Y'all will share everything like that. But a man buying a house for y'all and paying all the bills is not, you don't want to share that, because that ain't princess treatment. I feel so sorry for this younger generation, bro. Because the women my age, you got some of them who are birds, but if you tell a woman my age, hey, I want to buy us a house, I want to take care of everything, you just sit back. They're not going to turn that down and be like, man, this ain't no motherfucking princess treatment. Why I got to share with you? What? Somebody in the comments even said, if he takes you on a trip, that's not a gift because he's enjoying himself too. It's shit like this that makes my fucking balls itch, because what are you talking about? Do it yourself then. Then you can gift yourself however much you want.
The outlier women can, most women cannot. The gift yourself whatever you want or however much you want. The outlier women can, most women cannot. The outlier women could afford to buy themselves $1,000 shoes and how many $5,000 bags. Most women cannot. They popping that, they rah talking that. They can't. That's why they're bunking up when they do go on these cruises. That's why when they go to the one of them don't say, oh, the bill was what? It was $300, $40. I'll pay for it. Y'all no, y'all don't got to pay me back. I got it. Huh? The bill for 4 of us, 5 of us was $400. Not only am I going to pay the $400 and something bill, $300 and something bill, I'm going to put a $75 tip on it, a $100 tip on it, because they don't got it. That's why they splitting the bill. They don't have it. Their goal is to badger you and make you feel like it's your obligation to subsidize them and pay for it without them asking. You already know it's your job. And they're going to be ungrateful. And they're going to show their ass because that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do anyway. That's the flip. That's the game they playing. The problem, once again, is too many outlier women are talking. And so the average woman trying to play that game, but she can't. Thanos, you couldn't deal with your failure, so what did that lead you? Back to me. That's your average woman got to live that life. Your outliers get to play a different type of game. Your outliers get to pop that and then maybe actually live that and maybe end up with the elite men while they talk all that crap. And it's really classist, actually. But your average woman talk that, but she got to end up right back with you or a man just like you in your similar class position. She never really went nowhere. She couldn't. Where she was going? Elite men or men a class above her or a class or two above her, they gonna pipe? Maybe. Whether she got a kid or not, if she good looking enough and she available, they gonna pipe. She gonna make it easy for them because she hoping and praying and wishing that they'll elevate her. They're gonna pipe. 6 months later, if even that long. 9 months later. Huh? Yeah. And let me read this from Diaspora L. And he says, the younger Xers is a very peculiar status. The fact you got to split the smallest generation up tells something. I do, and I think you get it too, so I'm not insulting your intelligence here, but I do that on purpose because older Xers, depending on obviously their age, but the career path they tried to go after or that they did go after, they got to play a little bit of the game the boomers did. The window wasn't completely closed for some of the older Xers, right? Particularly, like I'm speaking about as a black man, older Xers, men. Depending if you were just perfectly timed, you got to get in the window right before it closed on some of the younger Xers, and you got to enjoy some of that window that was open. Just for a little, that doesn't mean there wasn't anti-blackness and racism. That is not what Mr. Z is saying. I am not minimizing the plight of Xer men, younger Xer black men. What I'm saying is the window was still open for enough of you, not all, maybe not even most, but enough of you, well-timed, well-positioned, where you got to take advantage of a little bit of the civil rights movement, a little bit of America saying, okay, we gotta at least look like we give a F about the Negroes. We gotta at least look like, right? So that's why I split the Xers. And yes, you're right. Smaller generation than the millennials and the boomers. I'm not sure if they're a smaller generation of the Gen Z because they're Gen Z parents, right? So I'm not sure if they're a smaller generation of Gen Z. I don't think so, but where's Leon when you need him? Somebody else might know. Put it in the comments if you do know. Right? But yeah, that's why I split the difference. Because younger Xers got hit with a lot. Not saying older Xers didn't, but younger Xers, that window was not open. Shout out to the younger Xers. That window was not open. Not like that. Huh? And that's all I'm saying. And Ish Talking says there's a distinction to be made between older and younger Xers for sure. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Right? Not to be insulting or belittling or even minimize older Xers and their plight and what they have to go through. That is not what Mr. Z is saying. So I just want to make sure to clarify. Right? I'm talking about that opportunity window. And we ain't even going to talk about millennials. For millennials, it was, if you don't got a college degree, you're a bum and just prepare to suffer. Certificate for what? Loser. Blue collar, ew. Right? You better go get a college degree and get in this student loan debt so you can have a modicum of a job or a career worth a damn. And even that, by the way, as the millennials was getting those degrees, depending on your age and your career field, boy, that dried up real quick because the younger Xers, and Mr. Z's not a younger X, I'm sorry, not younger Xers, the younger millennials, as they were graduating, that degree thing ain't really mean that much no more. And for Gen Z, I don't even know what to tell Gen Z black men and just Gen Z young people, even the women. Gen Z young people, definitely the boys, the men, and definitely, obviously, the black men, I don't even know what to tell them. Huh? So there's that too. And so let's read this before we get moving. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. This Yitch Babble reminds me of an anime of villain's last extinction level burst before the great silence. They know it's over. Yeah, I'm thinking of Bleach, the bald black dude off Bleach that was with Aizen in them. He was one of the was he Espada? Byakuya fought him. Yeah, and he was fast too, but he wasn't as fast. Yeah. And pretty much when he was about to die, he started praising Aizen and all hell Aizen and da 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 da. But he was talking crazy, right? Yeah. You're right about that, KMS, because that happens a lot in animes when they just start talking crazy before they pass. Yeah. And yeah, the last death throes of look, the ladies got to get the energy off too. They got to get it off too. And I get it, ladies. I get it. It's because that's something we don't speak about. I'm talking about larger society. I'm not speaking about the Black manosphere. The women are going through crisis also, right? They're going through crisis also. Thinking that they're gonna maybe tough it out alone. There is no knight in shining armor gonna come and save them or even subsidize them. Right? They don't earn enough. They're not, hypergamy ain't gonna work for them not like that. And the men that they have access to, or at least easy access to, readily accessible men, earn similar to them, a few dollars more than them, and they still making demands. Why can't you just pay for me and let me live my life and do whatever I want to do? And occasionally when I want to itch scratch, you there, whether we live together or not. But I don't want to have to wash dishes and wash clothes and take care of a kid and be the primary, at least caretaker of the children. Why can't you just pay for everything, or at least pay for whatever that you can, and just let me be who I want to be? You imagine being a $45,000, $50,000 a year woman and realizing that you're going to end up with a $50,000, $55,000, $60,000, $65,000, $70,000 man. And he gonna place demands on you. Oh, after all the Disney movies, after all the hypergamy talk, after all of the watching Shira 7 or watching these outlier feminists blab on about how upperly mobile the women are, how to kick an ass, and you in student loan debt, or even fine, you making the 75, 80 grand. And you 33 years old, and you single at $75,000 a year, and you've been trying to pull this hypergamy thing for years, and have one of these 150 a year men take you seriously. You think you better than the $60,000 a year men, the $55,000 a year men, the $50,000 a year men, the $40,000, and the 150 year men. They not doing nothing with you but maybe piping. Yeah, it's B-Babble. Yes, it's Yitch Babble. Because what's the sentiment?
That's not fair. That's not fair! That's not fair!
Huh? Yeah. Oh, man. And KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. That's all. And on to our main event, everyone. To the main event. So a bunch of people have been covering this. Some of y'all already checked out the link in the description box. I'm going to get to the good part, right? To the good part. Shout out to Media Man. But I'm going to get to the good part because this young lady, apparently one of DL Hughley's daughter, she went viral for speaking about marrying the nerd after you done had your fun with the different type of dudes. The stereotype, right? You was out there, what she said, with the dude with the Adidas sandals and the dirty socks. and then you let them pipe on you, her sentiments, her words, you let them pipe on you, and then you end up with a nerd. I seen her husband, oh boy. She really meant nerd. Now she tried to clean it up and clarify afterward. She wasn't really out there with the loser of men. She just was out there with the player dudes. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Whatever she want to concede, whatever she want to say, Mr. Z not even going to debate it. But what we will debate and talk about that she said. Oh, and this goes to the title. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Justifying mean and insufferable. Go ahead, Z.
Every happily married woman I know is a man eater. Like, we hold the bulls in our hands. We hate men. We can't stand them. Why are you speaking? Why are you talking? Happily married. So, get meaner. That's my advice. Get meaner. Be a horrible Ursula, down dog, man-hating bitch if you want to be happily married. I don't know what to tell you. That's all I got. Like, I'm at home. I'm packing a Costco haul. Doing nothing, really. So that's my little advice to you.
Woo! You gotta love we're here, everyone. She's not the only one who's talking like that. The ladies are emphasizing that you gotta be a complete and total asshole, right? Be an asshole. Be a complete and total yitch. Be an asshole. Man hating. That's what we are now. Man hating. The best relationships. You're not just mean to your man, your husband, your long-term boyfriend. You hate men. You're a man hater, and your man knows you're a man hater, and he works to be the exception. In her comments are a bunch of women claiming that. They owning that. My man, no. We still together, and I reserve the right to divorce over anything at any time. The comments are filled with that. Huh? Oh, you gotta love it. See, I said a couple of years ago, who died and made women Milton Freeman? Elite rich white men, corporate white men. What's the name of Walsh? The old GE CEO? Was it Matt Walsh? I can't remember what his name was. Someone gonna correct me in the comments. The one that used to fire the lower performing, and no matter how great the company was doing, and no matter if the lower performing just lost out to the higher performing, that was his thing, just fire the lower performing people. Huh? Welch, maybe? I forgot his name. Who died and made women? See, this is the other side of the game. It's not just feminism. It's this weird corporate, right? Neoliberal. Jack Welch. Thank you. Thank you, train of thought. Thank you, Jack Welch. Welsh, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. This Milton Freeman, Jack Welch way of viewing relationships, this Ayn Randian way of viewing intimacy, relationships, marriage, men. And so many women have bought in hook, line, and sinker to this way of viewing relationships with men. And now that they're here, this is how they justify it. Be a man hater. You gotta love it. Huh? But she wasn't done yet.
And since I have you, fundamentally, I think your husband needs to be a little bit afraid of you. Yeah, it's not scientific, but it's true.
Woo! Where are the technocrats? Where are you, Dr. Richard Reeves and Scott Galloway? Where are you, Professor Galloway? This is an increasing sentiment amongst women. right? Exactly. Gordon Geckoing of greed is good. The Gordon Geckoing of relationships. Huh? You gotta love it. Your husband should be a little afraid of you. Huh? See, y'all been telling women for so long how they're infallible, especially obviously in relationship to men, that the men are the ones who want to oppress them. The men are the ones who want to be patriarchal. The men want to rule over them. The men lack personality. The men lack character. We've been saying as a society, not Mr. Z and not the Black Manosphere, but we as a society, particularly the Black community, have been saying that for so long that the women, this is them now. This is them now. Huh? Oh, you gotta love it. This is what happens when you have decades of neoliberal capitalism plus feminism, third wave feminism, is elite women, D.L. Hughley's daughter, with the man-hating talk, and she gonna be okay. She said on one of her videos, it's a great thing that I don't have to worry about this and this and that financially, etc., etc. Her husband has money, her daddy has money, and she could pop that. Same thing you see with Kim Foster. Is a number of these highly educated women, they could pop that. They could talk all that crap. But they're not the ones who have to live with the consequences of that ideology. The average woman has to live with the consequences. And if we're going to be fair, masses of average men got to live with the consequences. With these insufferable women, these mean, snarky, rude women who think like this and then might call you for $200 because she late on her cell phone bill. But she thinks like this. Huh? And Starman says, from what I heard, DL cheated on her mom, so that might be her problem. And I understand that. I thought of that also. With that, she's in that water. She's swimming in that water. She's in that milieu. She was going to think like this regardless. DL stepping out on her mother only made it worse. Maybe made it worse. She swims in this water anyway. Huh? She swim in this water anyway. This is what female empowerment looked like to them. I said it to FD. He wasn't trying to hear it. This is what female empowerment looked like to them. Continue to watch that birth rate going keep on plummeting. Because you're asking men, working class, everyday men, lower middle class men. We're not even going to talk about working poor men. It's not even up. They're not even considering it. This society is demanding and asking and demanding, better yet, everyday salt of the earth men to do for women who think like this, but without the finances. And it's not just a Black woman thing. Continuing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, are those things like actually are social anxieties or romantic anxieties? Are those really just financial anxieties? Is that like, are we at the end of the episode of Scooby-Doo and we're like ripping the mask off and it's just like financial anxieties? Here we are again. Like, is that kind of like what's kind of poisoning the well, I suppose, in a lot of our relationship anxiety, both for friendship and romance?
I think it's a big part of it. And I think a lot of what you've touched on there is definitely financial in nature. But I actually think that when you look at the way that we celebrate women and what we celebrate them for, it's all marriage and children. That's it. That's where we throw the party. That's where we like all the photos. That's where we want to see women succeed, quote unquote, or at least where we want to see them apply themselves. And so I think that a lot of the anxiety because I mean, think about the number of women who are incredibly successful financially in terms of their professional and personal lives on every level in a way that their mother's generation or their grandmother's generation could have never dreamed of. They own their own property. They have an incredible education, a great career they love, great friendships. They travel, they have hobbies, all of this. And yet they are faced with this narrative that it is not only not enough because they don't have the romantic and familial aspect, but also that in fact, them being so successful independently has probably come at the cost of them finding a partner because, as we all know, that woman being more vulnerable and more dependent on the man is part of her appeal. Ultimately, I think we teach women that, yes, a lot of the anxiety is financial, but there is a certain vulnerability, I think, that women face.
I gotta pause. We're gonna get back to it. These women refuse. They refuse. This is my problem with the financial diet, Leisha Miller, etc. And as a matter of fact, in the beginning of this stream, in the beginning of this video, the actual full video, the full length video, they did speak of that fantasy of women to be plucked out of obscurity by elite men. They spoke about it. But then she turns around here and says, as a matter of fact, you know, it's less likely that you're going to end up like this because it's not the men, it's the women. Hypergamy, madam. The women are the ones who said economically unattractive men are leading to a downturn in marriage. Even the men that earn similar to them, because the masses of women, not the outliers, the masses of women are looking to marry up. It's not the men's insecurity in mass. It's the women and their concept and their idea of upward mobility. You kind of conceded the point in the beginning, and I'm going to link the full length after the stream. In the beginning of the video, of the interview, you and the host admitted it in the beginning of the interview. What the hell? And so for you to come back towards the end of the interview, because this was at the end of the interview, to imply and suggest that the women are going to have a difficult time, and what you're really saying, the men are going to be intimidated, but no. I can't tell you about white men, but no. Stop minimizing the women's hypocrisy. They earn, we're speaking about elite women here. They earn good money, they have their education, and they're looking for men who have similar, if not more. That's not about the men's insecurity. It's about the way the women want to feel about themselves, the way they see themselves, the way they see men, the way they see upward mobility, the way they see success, the way they see a man's role, the way they see a woman's role. And you're not going to get over that by minimizing the women in the matter. Continuing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, are those things like actually our social anxieties or romantic anxieties? Are those really just financial anxieties? Is that like are we at the end of the episode of Scooby Doo and we're like ripping the mask off and it's just like financial anxieties? Here we are again. Like, is that kind of like what's kind of poisoning the well, I suppose, in a lot of our relationship anxiety, both for friendship and romance?
I think it's a big part of it. And I think a lot of what you've touched on there is definitely financial in nature. But I actually think that when you look at the way that we celebrate women and what we celebrate them for, it's all marriage and children. That's it. That's where we throw the party. That's where we like all the photos. That's where we want to see women succeed, quote unquote, or at least where we want to see them apply themselves. And so I think that a lot of the anxiety, because think about the number of women who are incredibly successful financially in terms of their professional and personal lives on every level in a way that their mother's generation or their grandmother's generation could have never dreamed of. They own their own property. They have an incredible education, a great career they love, great friendships. They travel, they have hobbies, all of this. And yet they are faced with this narrative that it is not only not enough because they don't have the romantic and familial aspect, but also that in fact, them being so successful independently has probably come at the cost of them finding a partner because, as we all know, that woman being more vulnerable and more dependent on the man is part of her appeal. Ultimately, I think we teach women that, yes, a lot of the anxiety is financial, but there is a certain vulnerability, I think, that women face when they have, quote unquote, everything, but they don't have the romantic aspect of it. And that is, to me anyway, the number one thing that needs to be questioned.
I wonder, like, I hear what you're saying, and I am also married. I wonder, like, how when you as you discuss these things, you being married, does that like throw people, or are people like, is that something that people question, or because I mean, yeah, I mean, you're talking hard data, hard facts. These are actually the things that I discuss with my husband on a regular basis, regular basis. Because trying to keep our marriage equitable for both of us is something that we both actively work on a lot. But is that something that you feel like your audience has, like, or even people maybe who are outside of your audience who have found your work, have they squared with that or asked you about that in any sort of way?
No, because I have my own money. So if I wanted to leave tomorrow, I could. And maybe I will keep him on his toes. We've been together.
You have
for
to keep
15
them on
years,
their
but
toes.
Another 15 is not guaranteed, baby. But so I can always leave whenever I want. We made the decision to not have children because neither of us wants to be a primary parent. I know, I have said this a million times. If I had children, I would be divorced because I would be so full of resentment for my husband because I don't want to be a primary parent and I know he doesn't want to be a primary parent. So we would be one of the many couples who is constantly at each other's throats over childcare, domestic labor, all that stuff. So
yeah.
Exactly. So I specifically opt out of the things that I know are going to make my marriage way worse and my life way worse, notably having children. And then the third thing is I have a very clear-cut system for ways in which he makes my life better, easier, richer, all of those things. And I just think that a lot of people, I'm sure you've seen all the videos on, it's become its own subgenre now of like women posting their husbands being willfully incompetent, not doing shit, like making their lives harder, being an extra kid. And the joke now is, let me guess, we don't know him. We can't judge your relationship off a 5-minute video. Then save it. We don't want to hear it. But the reality of that, behind all of these videos about what your husband is not doing or how he's making your life harder, etc., is that not nearly enough women actually try to make a relatively rational assessment of, like you're saying earlier, making sure the labor is equitable, having the conversations on a regular basis to navigate what's fair, to compromise. They are avoiding all of these conversations because ultimately, I think on some level, a lot of them know that if they were to really lay it out, it would not look good. It would not look good for that man. And I have always found that it is the most sort of ardently critical of heterosexual marriage women who end up in the best marriages because they are extremely demanding that that marriage be only additive. We had a guest on Just Getting Good who said, I want a propeller, not an anchor, you know?
A propeller, not an anchor. That's a piece of wisdom I'm going to be thinking about for some time. And I hope that's the case for our viewers and listeners as well. But Chelsea, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
Me too.
And that is Chelsea from The Financial Diet. If y'all ever heard me reference The Financial Diet, I was speaking about the young white lady, right? I've been following her for years, and she's made these little type of jabs. She has, Leisure Miller has, the Financial Diet has interviewed Kim Foster maybe twice now. Definitely once. I want to say maybe even 3 times, twice now at least. Right? Maybe. Oh, anyway, either way. So she speaks like that, but we know that one of the major issues really is this type of thought process.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Are you single?
Yes.
Why are you single right now?
Because the men are not enough rich to take care of me.
So you're looking for a rich man?
Yes, I want to be spoiled.
Why does he have to be rich?
Because I want to be spoiled. Because I make my own money and I need to be dominated.
Yeah, that's the part of the conversation that none of the left want to have. None of the left want to have that conversation. How prevalent is that? It's not about his character flaw. It's not about anything other than I make my own money. I make good money, but I need a man that makes more. I need to be financially particularly dominated. Now, we already know she want to be dominated other ways too. Giggity. Huh? Yeah. So appreciate that it's not just D.L. Hughley's daughter. It's not just Black women who are speaking this way. The reason why I played this is because what did Chelsea say at the end? It's the women, and I'm going to paraphrase, it's the women who are the most critical of heterosexual relationships that have that. It don't got nothing to do with the money, huh? No, in America, it's not like the millionaires are getting married, more likely to get married, more likely to be married, more likely to stay married. Huh? No, it don't got nothing to do with socioeconomics in America. Because the way y'all frame it is that men are defective. But at least with the rich men, you could kind of understand why he has a woman. All men are defective in horrible. But at least with the tall, rich, good-looking man, you can kind of see why the woman is with him. Particularly the white ones, of course. Particularly the white, rich, good-looking man. Huh? Yeah. It's not just black women. This weird idea that the best relationships are the ones where you're mean to men, where your husband's just a little scared of you, or your boyfriend's just a little scared of you, where you're a man hater, but your husband understands, your boyfriend understands, and he understands the contempt because he was raised by a single mom too. His dad left, his dad did this, his men are like this, and I'm the exception to the rule. FD just entered the chat, consciously just entered the chat. Foreign man just entered the chat. Oops. All oops. Lil Bill just entered the chat. Yikes. Omizi just entered the chat. Oh. Huh? Not saying FD's wife is a man hater. As a matter of fact, I don't think she is. Regardless. These women who have contempt for men, but they found a man who's a bit of the exception to the rule, but they hate men, and their husbands understand, and their husbands kind of talk like that too. That whole, us men, we messing up like this, and we need to do this, and the women are sugar and spice and everything nice. Or if there's something wrong with them, it's because there's something wrong with us. She don't have her own mind and agency. She's not just a horrible person. Yeah, you gotta love it. Continuing.
The husbands and boyfriends of man haters are an elite and special task force, because how did you do that? How did you get that job? And then on top of it, they're usually the most well-loved men you've ever met in your entire fucking life. And they're usually the best men you've ever met in your entire fucking life. I think they're super spies.
So I played that for y'all before, but once again, play it again, Z.
The husbands and boyfriends of man haters are an elite and special task force, because how did you do that? How did you get that job? And then on top of it, they're usually the most well-loved men you've ever met in your entire fucking life. And they're usually the best men you've ever met in your entire fucking life. I think they're super spies.
As was said by other women that I played, the best men, they're the most lovable men, are the ones with man-hater girlfriends and wives. The most lovable men have you see the little psyop they trying to pull? Shout out to all of you men. All of you men who are married to women like this or in relationship with women like this. The best men are with man-hating women. You gotta love it. And that was her way of saying,
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up.
huh? Yeah, you gotta love it. You have to love it. With that, the white men are saying, see, look, I got the money, I got the status, I got the motion, I'm doing the things, and the women still playing around with me. Go ahead and say it, imitation Bruce Wayne.
My young brother, listen to me. I pull up in the Rolls Royce, I pull up in the Lambo, I got the motion, and sometimes they still don't text back. Sometimes they still fall asleep at 8 p.m. on a Friday. And sometimes they're just at the club in another dude's section. It doesn't get any better. It's life. I wish you the best of luck. Godspeed.
Look, Bizarro Batman, Bizarro Bruce Wayne, almost could have, would have been, might be Batman. Told y'all, look, even up here, as a white dude making money, it don't get no better. Now that's debatable. I want y'all to. He doing better. He getting better situation. But he's saying it ain't no panacea even up this way, huh? He said, even up this way. Hey, look, she's still gonna be playing in your face. And you wonder why the men are moving the way they are. The middle age, almost coulda, shoulda, woulda been Batman. It's telling you, Bruce Wayne just told you, look, even up this way, they playing in my face. Huh? She done watch me put the bat costume on. And she still playing in my face. Huh? Well, damn. And yet, the women are saying, no, the issue is that the men are not accepting our mean asses. Not enough of them. And the best relationships have the woman is essentially a hetero pessimist, a hetero fatalist, but the man understands and he's with her. Or she's a man hater, she's a yitch, and her husband understands and gets it. A lot of this, by the way, once again, is a class flex. It's a class. D.L. Hughley's daughter is flexing class when she does that. Because your average woman can't be no insufferable a-hole for the most part and have a whole husband. It ain't gonna happen, especially a black woman. For the most part, nah, you ain't gonna be that insufferable. Forget your looks. You're gonna be Ebony K. Williams out here. Oops. Your average woman, average black woman can't be that insufferable and have a husband. She can't be that mean and have a husband, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise. So it's a class flex. She gets to say, look, I grew up in the circles and I have this situation and I'm insufferable and I'm mean and I was doing whatever strange things with whatever men and my nerd ass husband still wifed me. That's a class flex. That's an access flex. I had access to the type of men that I could be this insufferable a-hole, this insufferable asshole, and run around with whoever I wanted to run around with. And when she clarified, she said doctors and lawyers and hedge fund managers, et cetera, et cetera. But I get to run around with them, get piped on by them. And when I'm finished and I'm dogged out, my nerd ass husband wifes me anyway. That's a class flex. All you women who wish you were her, she's flexing on your ass. She's showing off. Because you're not going to be able to pull that 9 times out of 10. Good luck. Play it again, Z.
Every happily married woman I know is a man eater. Like, we hold the bulls in our hands. We hate men. We can't stand them. Why are you speaking? Why are you talking? Happily married. So, get meaner. That's my advice. Get meaner. Be a horrible Ursula down dog, man-hating bitch. If you want to be happily married. I don't know what to tell you. That's all I got. Like, I'm at home. I'm packing a Costco haul. Doing nothing, really. So that's my little advice to you.
Be an Ursula down, dirty dog, man-hating bitch. Her advice. Do you know how many black women talk like this? Feel like this? Think like this? Do they have anything to show for it? Hell no. The masses of black women don't have, and they moving like this, but they don't have nothing to show for it. Nothing. A handful of them might have been in a situation, maybe a relationship, thinking and feeling like this. But for the masses of black women, they don't have nothing to show for this. Contempt for men, hatred for men, particularly black men, of course. Huh?
And since I have you, fundamentally, I think your husband needs to be a little bit afraid of you. Yeah, it's not scientific, but it's true.
And the most chronically single group of people in America are who? Oh yeah, black women. Not black people in particular, black women. The most single group of people in America, chronically single. Lowest interracial marriage rate, lowest marriage rate, highest divorce rate out of the major racial groups in America, race and gender. I wonder why, as Mr. Z rubs his chin, I wonder why. Huh? And Gil Gemi, thank you. But that's the name of the spot that I was referencing earlier. Zamari Leroux, right? The eighth Espada. Yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you, Gil Gami. I should have known you would know. Right. Yeah. And KMS says, Bruce Wayne got yitch problems. You hear me? Bruce Wayne has yitch problems. That's just the environment. The women have decided to go full on insufferable. And if you are, Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, had a clip where he said to women, and black women, we don't have to suffer you. Like, I think one of the women, oh yeah, it was when one of the young ladies called in and she was talking about the struggle of women. And yeah, it was one of those, it was the one I want to say that said, who wants to be with average anyway, or one of them, right? And y'all gives you a second. And we're back. My apologies, and my apologies for the quiet. Y'all already know. Reckless, right? So, and I just want to emphasize that, y'all. Look, if I said Bruce Wayne, sorry. If Bruce Wayne, shout out to Bruce Wayne. If Bruce Wayne is struggling out here, not struggling, struggling out here, well, damn. And let's read this from KMS also. Thank you for the super chat. How can one listen to these elite feminist yitches and not understand how Andrew Tate is a thing? They don't have to consider it. They don't want to. The whole point, it's, and I got to emphasize this. What's going on now is we understand why the women are the way they are, especially on the left. And this is where the left loses men. Y'all gives you a second. And we're back. What I would argue is going on, KMS, is that you have this kind of cosmic justice thing going on where we can appreciate and we understand where the women are coming from, and they won't even acknowledge it. It's sexist. They won't acknowledge the misandry of these comments. They won't acknowledge any of that. What they will do is speak on how they understand why the women speak the way they do. Right? So that's what we are. That's what I would argue. That's what we are right now. Particularly on the left, it's I kind of understand the men have been so horrible in patriarchy for centuries and millennia and centuries, where I kind of understand the angst of the women and this kind of knee-jerk reaction, misandry, and that's if they ever acknowledge it. But once again, they will not acknowledge that it's misandry and this man-hating. And think of it, if you're an elite and you're an elite woman, how does this not work in your favor? Less competition for resources for your children in the future, less family structure, right? This is the elites are winning with this type of mentality, especially elite women. You don't got to worry about some random attractive woman in the future snatching your son up. No, your son's supposed to be with Heather's daughter in the next 15, 20 years. Oh, they winning. Huh? Yeah. And that is true. And the Arena Revive says, Z, you gonna get your Haitian card snatched with these French um pronunciation. I couldn't get the word out. Pronunciation fails. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Stefan, in the elite, in the end, the elites lose too. True. But until they do, we right? True, Stefan. But until they do, we right? That self-hating is real as hell. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I said self-hating. That man-hating, better yet, is real as hell. Oh, and that's what I was saying earlier. When Kevin said the that we don't have to suffer you. Women want, I would argue what we're dealing with now is a number of women, maybe not all, who have decided I'm going full on insufferable because they, once again, remember, we're living in the era of like decenter men and don't care about the male gaze. So this is what they look like when they don't care about the male gaze. The masses of men, except the handful of men they all find attractive or appealing, or he's that guy, right? So all the rest of us are invisible to them. They might do something with you, they might not. You might be interesting to them, maybe not, whatever. And so decenter men, F the male gaze, which means now I could be insufferable and mean because I don't care about the masses of men and what they think and their feelings. F them. And what that equates to are these insufferable women for the masses of us. Huh? That's how you get the Drake's Nice for What? Perfect song. I might actually link it for the stream. That's how you get Drake Nice for What? That is that the hook of that song is it's perfect for the sentiment. I would argue for an increasing amount of women. Nice for what? To who? Huh? Justifying Mean and Insufferable is today's title. And I've played y'all multiple videos of women, particularly D.L. Hughley's daughter, celebrating that. I have other videos. Y'all remember me, Mr. Z, spamming those "be mean to men"?
I do believe genuinely that there needs to be a public works department that is dedicated to being mean to men. Like Parks and Rec, like sewage, like being mean to men. Or we could laterally integrate.
I don't got to play the whole thing because I played it for y'all before. Play the next one, Z.
The problem is we don't have enough women disrespecting men. We don't have enough women humbling these men and putting them in their place. We need to start making these men feel worthless because they are, okay? Call him a bitch. Disrespect him. Put him down. Make him feel bad about himself. Like, what's going on here? I feel like we're losing the plot. Like, I'm seeing.
That's another one. I have another one, but I didn't have it loaded up. This is a thing. It is. Ooh. Yay. I'll play it. Hey, the arena, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. The Arena Revive triggered it, y'all. And the Arena Revive says, and thank you for the super chat. What Munchkin describes is what Chelsea and Ryan Shepherd have. Say that. Huh? Say that. And we gonna play Munchkin. Prepare thyselves.
As a man, if you don't have house core job, don't look for a woman with house core job. And for the man that complain about women that do that, look for a man that has all three and they don't have all three. We can do that. We are women. You want us. You need us. Y'all want one thing from us. and mad because we boss y'all around because you're a fucking servant. You're a provider, right? You're a protector, right? You're a security guard and you're a goddamn assistant. Know your place. Stop being contradicting and bow down. Because I'm sick of it.
And let's read it. Let me actually apologize to Brooklyn Finest. So Brooklyn Finest. Luckily, I scrolled all the way up in my live comments, but I did not see this. I was going in the stream and never read this. I did not see this until just now. So shout out to Brooklyn's Finest for his patience, because this is coming almost 2 hours late. My apologies, Brooklyn Finest. I did not see this until now. Right. So let's read this, and it might be timely too. And the Brooklyn's Finest says, and thank you for the super chat. And we're gonna read Arena Revised super chat again in a minute. And Brooklyn's Finest says, I literally just arrived back from Cancun, all exclusive. My Venezuelan wife paid for all of it as appreciation, talking about paying fees. Right. And I take off Schuler King? I did. My apologies. But yeah. Huh? And thank you for that, Brooklyn Finest. I did not see this earlier. I did not. My apologies. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Right. But yeah, so shout out to the Arena Revised, and he's right. So what? And I guess I'll play it one more again. What the host from, I think it's called PBS. It's the PBS podcast. I want to say they keep up with pop culture and everything, but it's extremely like feminist and like man bashing, really, but like in an intellectual way, right? So it's not F you Negroes. They're not saying that F you men, not overtly like that. They intellectualize it and they hide behind feminist speak. Huh? Play it again, Z.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, are those things like actually are social anxieties or romantic anxieties? Are those really just financial anxieties? Is that like are we at the end of the episode of Scooby Doo and we're like ripping the mask off and it's just like financial anxieties? Here we are again. Like, is that kind of like what's kind of poisoning the well, I suppose, in a lot of our relationship anxiety, both for friendship and romance?
I think it's a big part of it. And I think a lot of what you've touched on there is definitely financial in nature. But I actually think that when you look at the way that we celebrate women and what we celebrate them for, it's all marriage and children. That's it. That's where we throw the party. That's where we like all the photos. That's where we want to see women succeed, quote unquote, or at least where we want to see them apply themselves. And so I think that a lot of the anxiety, because think about the number of women who are incredibly successful financially in terms of their professional and personal lives on every level in a way that their mother's generation or their grandmother's generation could have never dreamed of. They own their own property. They have an incredible education, a great career they love, great friendships. They travel, they have hobbies, all of this. And yet they are faced with this narrative that it is not only not enough because they don't have the romantic and familial aspect, but also that in fact, them being so successful independently has probably come at the cost of them finding a partner because, as we all know, that woman being more vulnerable and more dependent on the man is part of her appeal. Ultimately, I think we teach women that, yes, a lot of the anxiety is financial, but there is a certain vulnerability, I think, that women face when they have, quote unquote, everything, but they don't have the romantic aspect of it. And that is, to me anyway, the number one thing that needs to be questioned.
I wonder, like, I hear what you're saying, and I am also married. I wonder, like, how, as you discuss these things, you being married, does that like throw people, or are people like, is that something that people question, or because you're talking hard data, hard facts. These are actually the things that I discuss with my husband on a regular basis. Because trying to keep our marriage equitable for both of us is something that we both actively work on a lot. But is that something that you feel like your audience has, like, or even people maybe who are outside of your audience who have found your work, have they squared with that or asked you about that in any sort of way?
No, because I have my own money. So if I wanted to leave tomorrow, I could. And maybe I will keep him on his toes. We've been together.
You have to keep him on their toes.
Another 15 is not guaranteed, baby. But so I can always leave whenever I want. we made the decision to not have children because neither of us wants to be a primary parent. I know, I have said this a million times. If I had children, I would be divorced because I would be so full of resentment for my husband because I don't want to be a primary parent and I know he doesn't want to be a primary parent. So we would be one of the many couples who is constantly at each other's throats over childcare, domestic labor, all that stuff. So exactly. So I specifically opt out of the things that I know are going to make my marriage way worse and my life way worse, notably having children. And then the third thing is I have a very clear-cut system for ways in which he makes my life better, easier, richer, all of those things. And I just think that a lot of people, I'm sure you've seen all the videos on, it's become its own subgenre now of like women posting their husbands being willfully incompetent, not doing shit, like making their lives harder, being an extra kid. And the joke now is, let me guess, we don't know him. We can't judge your relationship off a 5-minute video. Then save it. Save it. We don't want to hear it. But the reality of that behind all of these videos about what your husband is not doing or how he's making your life harder, etc., is that not nearly enough women actually try to make a relatively rational assessment of, like you're saying earlier, making sure the labor is equitable, having the conversations on a regular basis to navigate what's fair, to compromise. They are avoiding all of these conversations because ultimately, I think on some level, a lot of them know that if they were to really lay it out, it would not look good. It would not look good for that man. And I have always found that it is the most sort of ardently critical of heterosexual marriage women who end up in the best marriages because they are extremely demanding that that marriage be only additive. We had a guest on Just Getting Good who said, I want a propeller, not an anchor, you know?
A propeller, not an anchor. That's a piece of wisdom I'm going to be thinking about for some time. And I hope that's the case for our viewers and listeners as well. But Chelsea, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
Me too.
You gotta love the contempt for heterosexual men and this little snarky, sassy, spunky, sassy, snarky little one-liners, and they love it, huh? And let's read this from KMS finally. And KMS, this one got lost in the sauce too. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. Does her overt, and this kind of applies to now, perfect. Does her overt man-hating rhetoric work on the road, like in third world countries? I would pay to see it. Hashtag proof of concept, hashtag tennis, hashtag US open hand. And I hear you with the US open hand. I hear you, right? We know that no. We know that it's a no, and she know that it's a no. The whole point of these type of feminists is to spread this ideology globally. Shout out to Passport Bros, so that there's nowhere for you to go. They really want to spread this globally. Now, will it work globally? Not right now. Because too many women across the planet are too reliant on men. The infrastructure isn't there. The technology isn't there in abundance enough. So yeah, this idea, you take this to certain developing nations or air quotes, third world countries. It's kind of offensive, but okay. Yeah, no, hell no, KMS, nah. And we know it. And we know it. Huh? And we know it. And thank you for the super chat, KMS. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? We know. So I just had to play that again. And on that note, y'all, we're about to end out. And thank y'all for listening. We shout out to DL Hughley's daughter. Ryan, I think her name was, and I think that's what Doreen Revise was saying. Whether DL Hughley stepped out on his wife or not, and I think he did, and he admitted it, right? Yes, that's a true story. Regardless, this ideology of being mean to men and being less aggressive and being a man-hating, like she said, Ursula Yitch, that's the way to go. It sounds good. You're of rare air. You were born to a world-renowned comedian, especially in the Black community, been making big money for a few decades now. You're married. You're the daughter of that guy. You could talk that, and you're a Black woman. You could talk that. It sound good. The masses of Black women, they might even try to pull what you're saying, but they're gonna run right into the wall. Bow! Of, oh yeah, I don't have the resources not to care about. I don't have the resources that allow for me not to care what men think, Black men think. I could be a little mean, I could be a little sassy, a little snarky, but I can't move the way Ryan talking. I don't earn enough. I'm too dependent and too reliant. My mom is tired of subsidizing me. I can't lean on my girlfriends enough. I can't lean on my female siblings enough. Huh? Yeah. And we're going to play it one more again, and then we're going to end out.
Every happily married woman I know is a man eater. Like, we hold the bulls in our hands. We hate men. We can't stand them. Why are you speaking? Why are you talking? Happily married. So, get meaner. That's my advice. Get meaner. Be a horrible Ursula, down dog, man-hating bitch if you want to be happily married. I don't know what to tell you. That's all I got. Like, I'm at home unpacking a Costco haul, doing nothing really. So that's my little advice to you. And since I have you, fundamentally, I think your husband needs to be a little bit afraid of you. Yeah, it's not scientific, but it's true.
Once again, to all the pastors, preachers, black preachers, black talking heads, pundits, the Dr. Umars, the Roland Martins, the Dr. Boyce Watkins, all of these folks, right? All of these folks. Shout out to all of you. The pastors, the preachers, the pundits, the tastemakers, all of you. When this is a prevalent thought process concerning black women in the black community and nobody want to check it, as a matter of fact, it's encouraged, then leave black women to be chronically single, leave them for the white, Latino, Asians, or the specimen of black men to run through all of them indefinitely. Huh? Don't talk to us about no community and black men not being loyal to the black community and colorism, futurism, texturism, and anti-blackness, and black women hate their mamas and they hate black women and they hate themselves and they would beg keepers, they lost to white men and they want white men's trophy and they hate themselves and they don't value black women. Don't say anything to us along those lines when you're producing women like this. And on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other black manosphere content, other non-manosphere content, for the love of God. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all.
You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.